What's up, YouTube? What I wanted to shoot here is a bit of a highlight video or a rundown to show you guys, anybody who may have missed what I've been up to on my stream lately. So what we're going to go ahead and do is check out this timeline here. Now, firstly, before we check out this game where I started as Austria, I just want to tease you guys or keep your attention span by showing you all of the achievements that we acquired this playthrough, including a decent reserve of having over 1 million manpower, taking 10 war reparations from 10 different nations at the same time, factionalism, that's a lame one, this is a lame one, that's a lame one, that's a lame one. Just a little patience, play until the end of the game, which I've never actually done. Over 1,000, having over 1,100 provinces, or over 1,000 provinces directly. That's the Silk Road, owning every single Silk province, either directly or indirectly, and World Conqueror. I finally got the World Conquest achievement, which was of course so easy in the past, but I feel like the game gets increasingly more and more difficult, and I'm glad that I finally got it. But not only did I get it, if you give me a moment to gloat, I got it on the hardest difficulty, the new difficulty, very hard. And yeah, there's been some speculation in my small chat, my channel, whether or not I am the first person in the world to conquer the world on very hard difficulty. That was initially my sort of dream. If you look at my previously uploaded YouTube video as Spain, I had the intention to conquer the world on very hard difficulty as playing as Castile, and I thought the game had potential, but unfortunately it fell through, and then this achievement was actually delayed even further because I ended up having a sort of impromptu holiday. Anyway, enough ranting. Let's go ahead and show you guys the timeline to sort of catch you up to see how this game played out. Now, let's do it a little bit faster here. I started as Austria, and I actually managed to take Venice just by pure luck. I was attacking him, and I wanted to expand into northern Italy, France, and the PLC in particular, with the goal to have a lot of luck and actually personal union as many nations as I could. The PLC and France both being damn near unPUable as Austria because of the historical rivalry, you can't get a royal marriage, and their government type. So you can see I focused most of my aggressive expansion here in Venice, and I managed to get the Burgundian inheritance, which is great. I didn't manage to PU Hungary, however I did feed them as an ally, hoping that I could PU them in the future. In this game, they actually remained with the Habsburg dynasty. And as you can see, I have had a victory over France, expanding into him, as well as fully annexing Venice. So things were going relatively nicely and smoothly. However, having not kept the Shadow Italy event, the Shadow Kingdom event, having not kept Italy inside the Empire, and not having a personal union over Bohemia, playing on this difficulty where nations are so much more powerful than you, I felt like this game was really going nowhere until I actually got a personal union over England. I got a personal union over England, and which is just crazy. You can see the PLC here take some losses, and he actually loses Lithuania as a subject. However, what was just crazy, really crazy, is that the PLC had a Habsburg on their throne. The Polish had a Habsburg who had been elected by somebody else. I don't know if it was England or Hungary, but there was a Habsburg on Poland as well. When the Lithuania became independent, there was a Habsburg on Lithuania, and about now I actually personal unioned them as well. So at this stage, I was thinking, wow, there might be a lot of potential for this game, a lot of luck. I think I might have fed them a little bit here, both of these nations using their claims. You can see France getting absolutely smashed, which was my goal from the very beginning of the game, do everything I can to smash France. Dauphin was at some point released, and he is becoming the new France as he eats up all of southern France. Now, I was also allied with Castile because of the French rivalry, and I had the event, which I highly recommend you guys do if you are playing as Austria. There's an actual event with a meantime to happen if Castile has no heir. If they have no heir to their throne and they are royal marriage to Austria, then there's a chance that they will get a Habsburg heir on their throne, and it is somewhat likely. Going further into this game, we can see Spain being formed, who also has Naples in a personal union. I actually PU'd Spain as well. And if that wasn't enough, there was a Habsburg on Sweden who was going crazy. However, unfortunately, I wasn't able to PU him, which I was really hoping for. But Spain actually spread Habsburg to Portugal without my completely autonomously. So I found myself with a personal union over England, Lithuania, Spain, a Habsburg on Portugal and a Habsburg on Sweden, and I realized at that stage, expanding into northern Italy, I realized that there was a lot of potential for this game. I also, there we go, I integrated Hungary, which I did eventually personal union as well. I think this is the most personal unions I have ever had. You can see I released Bosnia and Serbia there. That is a tactic that I utilize as the emperor when if I manage to obtain a lot of land. If I'm ever in a war that is a terrible hard war that I feel like I'm going to lose, you do have the option to actually release nations whose capital is inside the empire. And if you're playing, because you added it to the empire, if you're playing as the emperor, then that basically expands the strength and the influence of the empire, which is eventually going to be yours anyway at zero cost. This is my tactic to actually deal with the Flemish and Dutch region. Holland has been released as my vassal, and that is the tactic that I utilize to prevent the Netherlands from defecting from my land. It's a hard, tricky one to deal with. There's a lot of different tactics and strategies, but that's my preferred way to deal with it. You can see Hainaut, Berry, and Nevers are all nations, as well as Provence, and I think even Luxembourg, all nations that I actually released for the same reason. You can see here at this stage, I was doing really well inside the empire, and I was doing everything I could to assist nations like Bohemia in crushing Poland, with the intention to inherit them all for free. We can see some expansion of Germans into Scandinavia. I have now integrated Great Britain. Of course, Austria is the best nation to be integrating people. I took influence as my first idea, which reduces the cost of integrating nations into your country, and Austria has their own national idea which does the same thing, which makes them fantastic. So at some point here, I actually, there we go, begin my own colony. I was so starved for diplomatic power this game because of the rate that I was trying to integrate people. You can see I've integrated Lithuania here as well. Because I was integrating people all the time, constantly, there was a lot of the game that I focused my diplomatic power, and I wasn't actually able to take any more than one colonist. So I thought I would use that colonist really wisely. Speaking of which, speaking of colonies, you can see that there's Spain and Portugal in the New World. We have some Sweden action going on, and myself. But the New World is extremely barren of Europeans at 1650. And the reason is because the French are dead. Holland and England is eliminated. Holland was my subject, and if the Dutch people are your subject, they will now actually pick up colonial ideas. I actually ended up personal unioning both Brittany and Dauphine as well, making this game absolutely ridiculous. Of course, it does take skill to fish for those personal unions, but the fact that I actually got them is crazy. I ended up enforcing a personal union over Portugal by force because they had my dynasty and there was no allies to stop me at that stage. At this stage, I'm the emperor. I have vassalized everything. We can see Prussia has formed, and I'm beginning to feed Sweden to the Germans. So at this stage, if we were able to look at my diplomacy view, I literally own all of Europe, either directly or indirectly, with the exception of Sweden and the Papal State. So this was undoubtedly one of the better games I've ever played in my life, and we were playing on very hard difficulty. At this stage, I had become so influential that I was no longer intimidated by any nation in particular. The Ottomans are still very powerful, as you can see, but I had a victory over them by utilizing our empire against them. There's just nothing they could do. Empire OP OP. I just integrated Spain, I believe, therefore getting all of his colonies. You can see how much I'm feeding Prussia, and the intention is to utilize his incredible troops to have yet more victories over the Ottomans. You can see we've integrated Portugal here. At this stage I had pushed so far east, I was trying to protectorate Ming, Delhi. We ended up with, I'm feeding Delhi there, we ended up with Bengal, Bahumnas, Delhi, Ming, Korea, Japan, Khmer as my protectorates, as well as this nation here, this nation and this nation. I did protectorate this nation, however they westernized and freed themselves from my grip, and then I had to actually conquer them the other way. The same goes for this area. I protectorated all of this area, if that's even a word. The New World at this stage with no competition, taking the Swedish colonies, feeding it to my colonies. As far as I'm concerned, the New World was completely taken care of. It's just a matter of time. Europe was taken care of. You can see that the Papal State just has Rome. Sweden here, once I got the admin efficiency, was fully annexable. Russia, completely dead. Here I actually formed the HRE, which is much worse than actually vassalizing all of Europe, the empire. It's almost objectively worse, which I won't go too into detail why. There's a lot of reasons why, and they all accumulate, and it's almost objectively worse. But the reason I had to form the HRE here is because at this stage I had Ming, Delhi, Bengal, Bahumnas, and so many Africans as my subjects. I had almost the absolute vast majority of the world subjugated, including Europe, and combined the whole world's liberty desire as well as my aggressive expansion everywhere was just adding up far too high. So I had to unite Europe to be strong enough to sort of subjugate the rest of the world. And we're getting further and further into the late game. I'm having more and more victories against the Ottomans. Persia is my vassal who I have fed. I actually released the Mamelukes, Yemen, and Iraq and Najd in a hope that as we crushed the Ottomans they would sort of defect to my vassals, because one of the only limitations I was concerned about is the actual truce timers with the Ottomans. So all of Europe is unified, as you can see, with the exception of Brittany, who was in a personal union. My subjects actually ended up declaring independent wars against the Ottomans and taking land as I crushed him, and also releasing nations from him, which I was able to incorporate, making that issue with the truce timer go over much more smoothly. I finally integrated Brittany. I'm colonizing everywhere with my few colonists, and yeah, I've conquered all of this region, subjugated the rest, and it came down to just the Ottoman Empire and the truce timer. We did end up breaking our truces, and I was using my papal influence to boost my stability, etc. But as you will shortly see, we conquered the entire world. That was the second to last war, and then I broke my truce timer with the Ottomans and finished them off here shortly, just waiting on the corn cost. At this stage I had conquered the world, the entire world, and I just do some fluffy stuff for fun, like incorporating vassals to make my empire look a little better. So in summary, that was really fun. I really enjoyed that game. The Holy Roman Empire, in my opinion, is one of the coolest tags in the whole game. And yeah, that was really cool. So this is what I've been up to on stream. I think I maybe have gotten the first World Conquest on very hard difficulty, maybe, but I'm completely open to actually being mistaken and wrong. It wouldn't surprise me if there was somebody out there who is not well known, but I think my small community has kind of acknowledged that I am among streamers at least. Anyway, with that being said, I just want to talk about my YouTube channel very quickly. I'm not very active on YouTube, as a lot of you have probably noticed, but I am going to be uploading things every now and then, little tidbits like this, which I think are somewhat significant, and I hope you guys enjoy that. The main reason I'm not going to be uploading a huge volume of content is because my upload speed is terrible, which I'm hoping will be resolved in the future when I have access to better quality internet, which is becoming more popular all throughout New Zealand where I currently live, so it is a realistic thing. I just want to say though that my subscriber count on YouTube, which is just followers effectively, is growing without me actually producing that much content, and I'm so grateful for that, guys. If you think for yourself, like if you wanted to start a YouTube channel, um, it's difficult to start from scratch with like no followers. It's much more easy if you have a sort of viewing base, and that way those people, whether they thumb it up or chat or whatever, can get a ball rolling to get more views. With that being said, my Nations Rising Season 1 Episode 1, The Rise of Byzantium video is my most viewed video with 3,263 views, which is pretty crazy for me, guys. I'm just your local humble resident monk. I'm a pretty regular guy, and that's pretty cool for me. 3,000 views. We're getting there. We're getting there. It makes me feel like some kind of amateur professional or something like that. I just wanted to thank you guys so much, and I want to welcome people who are subscribing if you watch this video. And yeah, if you guys like me, if you are interested in this kind of content in the future, all I can say is keep it up, because as my channel grows, it's going to create much more incentive for me to create content. So I just hope you guys are aware that I do remember you. I am going to look out for you in the future if you want this kind of content. And all I can say is just keep it up. Be there for me every now and then when I upload videos. I really appreciate it. Regardless, I'm ranting. I hope you guys enjoyed the little update. And if this is something that you'd kind of be interested in watching the growing pains and the whole thing play out throughout a long period of time, make sure to follow my Twitch. There's a link down below, and watch me live. Bye guys, thanks for watching.